What's going on, everybody? It's Monkeyfarm. We are back with another Create Mod tutorial. Today we are going to show you how to build this quarry. I don't really know what to call it, so the title might be different than what I call it right here. But basically, it's kind of an expandable quarry, or adjustable, or mobile, or portable, or something like that. The point is that it allows you to dig out your quarry and then move it and then dig out some more, so you don't have to like rebuild the thing from scratch every time. You can dig out a huge amount of area with only building one little quarry. So I think that's a pretty cool concept. Let me see. Let me get this stuff. I'll give you a quick idea how this thing works. We're going to build, the tutorial is going to be a little bit different than we built it here in Survival World. This is actually my Survival World that I built it on in my live stream. So as you can see, it's clumped together with random blocks and stuff. But here's the deal. So here's how it works. Let's say we just dug out that area and we bring our quarry back up. And we want to move on to the next chunk and dig that out. We're going to push this little button here. And then we're going to turn it on again. Whoops. And we're going to let it dig. And it's going to dig. And there it is, digging. And then it's going to collect all the blocks and put them in the chests. And then when it comes back up, we get to see our treasure, and we get to see what the heck is going on. And it doesn't even matter that all that lava is down there, because all this stuff is basically invisible right now, somehow. But it works, and it can go down underneath the lava, and it doesn't really matter. All right, we're back, and it's almost back up. So let's go over here and see what we have waiting for us. Once this gets to the top, we'll be all clear to open up the chest and see what's inside. So one of these chests was already kind of full. I took some goodies out of it, so I don't have any inventory open. But we got some copper ore, we got some iron ore, and we got some coal. And andesite is obviously very valuable in the game too. We got some redstone. Let's see. Oh, here's another full box. Some more andesite. I actually came over here. I built this whole thing because I was running out of andesite, and I didn't want to use up my diamond pickaxe because I don't really have a whole lot of diamonds yet. So that was kind of the purpose of this. So I think that should be it. Two boxes. So the one I'm going to show you once we get over to the test world, I'm going to show you how to automatically unload all the inventory and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to show you how to build a nice clean one. This one's a little, you know. All right, let's get started. So I'm going to build the platform first. You don't really have to build it this high up, but I would recommend, you know, just a couple blocks above the ground level because we are going to be moving this structure. So in case you have some blocks that it's going to run into, you don't want to push this towards them. They might actually get stuck because, as you know, these chassis grab blocks that are connected to them. So you don't want to end up grabbing land and everything connected to this thing. And, you know, that'd be kind of weird. Anyway, I'm also going to do a 5x5 drill or quarry. That's what I did in the survival world that I showed you. And it seems to be a pretty good number. You can build these bigger than 5x5, but I mean, if you want to think, it's a lot cheaper to build the structure to move this platform than it would be to build a really huge drill platform. You know, it's not as efficient, right? There's no point to doing that. So anyway, we're just going to do a 5x5. It's a nice middle number, and let's go ahead and slap down our rope pulley. So this is going to be the moving structure, and the motor and the belt part that's going to push this down the line, you know, to make it mobile, sort of, is going to be fixed. So this is going to move, and everything else is going to stay where it is. Now, since this is 5 blocks, we want to space these shafts 5 blocks apart. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't actually, just so you know, it doesn't matter what block I'm using there. Those chassis are not relevant. I'm just using those as spacers to, whoops, did I just turn this up? Not that it matters, but okay. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you can just rotate them with the wrench. We can even do drills if we want. Doesn't matter, like I said. All right, let's do one more. The reason I want to do one more is because that is going to exceed the length that we can make a belt. So we want to attach our belt to this thing right here, and as you can see, it's green or red, and you can see how far it's going to connect. So 1, 2, 3, and then it can't go here. So that's as far as one belt will go, but if you want to connect this belt and keep it going, just add another shaft here. So even though the distance between this one and this one is only going to be 4 blocks, that's okay. Let's just pretend we built this further out. And now if you do your belt, connect it over here. So the reason I'm counting these 5 blocks apart is because each time we move this platform 5 blocks, this pulley right here is going to connect to the shaft. This is how the whole thing is going to be powered. If the pulley doesn't connect to a shaft, like let's say we stopped it right here, nothing's going to be powering this pulley. So the only way you could do that, I guess, or not the only way, but a way you could do that, you could build this all out of encased belts, but that would be extremely wasteful, right? So we're just using a belt and we're spacing these things 5 blocks apart. All right, now let's also put a couple chassis, one pointed down on the pulley and one right next to it. All right, so this is actually where our mechanical piston is going to connect. So let's put this right here. All right, you got to make sure it's pointed the correct direction. And then since we're using a sequence gear shift, we can only make this 50 blocks long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can only do this 50 blocks, right? I'm not going to count out to 50, but anyway, you get the picture. The reason for that is that the sequence gear shift can only push the piston out 50 blocks. It won't go further than that. If you wanted to do this manually, meaning take a lever and put a gear shift and just stop it manually where you wanted to, it would be kind of difficult because you'd have to eyeball where this shaft is and hope that you stop it right where the pulley is, right when the pulley is right in front of the shaft, right? You could do that with encased belts, like I said, and you could stop it at any point. But that would be way too expensive. No reason to do that, right? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to tell this sequence gear shift to just move 5 blocks every time we push the button. So let's throw a button on there. All right, so we don't want to push it yet. We still have some things to do. So the other thing is we need to put a gear shift, not a sequence gear shift, just a regular one, on this belt. And we actually immediately, I recommend just put a lever on that and turn it on, because that's going to tell the pulley to come up, right? So when we power this thing up, if we've done anything wrong, there's currently a bug that will cause this structure to disappear. So if this thing is powered and it's trying to tell the pulley to go down and you have some chassis conflicting with something, the whole thing could just disappear on you. But it's not a major issue. Like I said, I built this in survival, didn't have a problem, so nothing to be too concerned with. But just for testing purposes, so we do this correctly, just to be safe, right? All right, so we're going to put slime balls on the bottom of this, every block where we want a drill. And don't click it twice because we don't want the top sticky. And go ahead and put a drill, pointed down, of course, on every one of these blocks. You can make this smaller or bigger, like I said, but seems to be a nice round number. And then we're going to put 4 sticky blocks here, or slime balls, because we are going to put some chests here. The other thing we're going to do, actually, you know what? Something's weird. The chests seem to separate. Like if I put double chests here, for some reason they separate when this thing runs. So really, you can just do this with 2 chests. And a 5x5 drilling down to bedrock isn't going to overflow 2 chests. But anyway, I need these chests here right on the edge because we are going to offload our inventory right here. So we're going to put a couple transposers here. And bam, there we go. We're good. And then here we're going to put some chests. And we can make these double chests so we can have a lot of inventory offloaded here. Now, of course, you're probably going to have like a sorting system set up to this. So you're going to be sending your items, you know, into other chests and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, for this tutorial, we're just going to offload them to these chests right here. All right, we're good. Let's see. Let's get some daylight. Now we want this thing all powered by one machine, like one motor, right? So, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways we can do this, but if I just take some gearboxes, this will be easy. Just connect a couple gearboxes there. We put a shaft there. Let's see. Why don't we do some encased belts? Basically, all I'm trying to do is connect both of these so we can power this and power that all with one motor. Now, like I said, you're probably going to build a windmill or a furnace engine or something like that on this, but for the point of this video, we're just going to do it easy and slap a motor on it. This is only available in creative. All right, so right now, this is telling our pulley to come up. If I lower this, bam, it's going to start drilling. All right. Now, like I said, we can let this go down through bedrock. It can go through, or it's not going to go through bedrock, but it can go to bedrock. It can be covered with lava. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt it. So anyway, let's pretend we drilled all the way down to bedrock, and our items should start getting offloaded 16 at a time here. So that's pretty good. Got a big chunk of loot. All right, we are almost ready to get this thing started, and there is a mistake, but I want to show it to you before I fix it. So, wait, hang on. All right, so that's the mistake, right? So our piston is not grabbing this whole thing. So I'm going to make this block. I'm going to double click that, and it's going to be sticky on the bottom. So now it's connecting to this. Anyway, bam. Okay, so don't forget to make the bottom of this chassis sticky because it has to grab the pulley underneath it. And just so you know, I set this to 4 just so in case you have land underneath it. I don't know if this would grab it if you have it set like to a higher number, but since 4 goes down to where this drill is, I just figured that's probably the right number to do it. So just in case you have a problem, it's still not working, mess around with the number of that chassis, telling it how many blocks to grab. So anyway, we went ahead, we pushed that button, right? And we got the piston to move 5 blocks. Now we can flip the switch again, get the quarry doing its thing, drilling, all that stuff. Now you don't have to change these arrows every time if you don't want to. You could put a gear shift here and toggle it with a lever. That's what I did when I very first built it over there. That's up to you if you want to add another kind of link to the chain, you know what I mean? So you take a gear shift and basically right here, you would put this gear shift here. And instead of changing this direction every time, you would just toggle this, right? So we should be offloaded here. Let's go ahead. Whoa, I'm stuck. So let's go ahead and push it again. Let's say we drilled all that out. We want to do that. the pulley is connecting to each 5 blocks, away where the shaft is. And then if we want to toggle this, just go ahead, flip the switch, push that button. Now, if we want it to move that way again, we just toggle the gear shift. Up to you, like I said, if you want to add that extra, link to it. The other thing you can do to this, if you, let's say you go out the full 50 blocks and you don't want to rebuild this whole thing, what you can do is kind of relocate. Let's say you break all these and collect them, right? You can break everything here and the drills underneath, obviously, and just add more chassis here. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then put your drills underneath, put your, make sure you put sticky underneath first, put your drills on, and then guess what happens? You can go ahead and drill an entirely new row, still connected to this piston that can only go 50 blocks. So in other words, this is kind of expandable and endless, right? Oh, yeah, don't make it too sticky. Like I said, normally a drill would have broken these blocks, but I just pulled them up. Let's see, toggle. Let's see, weather clear. All right. So it's like almost infinitely expandable. I mean, I'm sure there's a limit to how far you can build these chassis, but I had, I don't know, at least 100 or 2, I don't know, in my mob spawner doing the mob squeegee. So I had a ton of these connected to a piston. So you can really spread this whole thing out and dig like this entire, you can dig out in an area like this big at least, and that's a huge quarry. So this will get you a lot of resources for relatively, pretty cheap, considering none of this requires brass, or actually this thing I think requires brass, and the transposers do also, but you could use hoppers if you really wanted to. Yeah. So yeah, that is it. I hope you like it. Please thumb up the video and subscribe and all that. And don't forget to check out my Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/monkeyfarm. And we'll see you all next time. Later.